Hello guys, welcome to another Legends of Runeterra video. I'm here with Toto, and we're going to talk about the top 5 worst Titanic cards in Runeterra. Titanic, for those who don't know, is a concept that was introduced in the last patch. It means any card that has 8 health or 8 attack, and it came along with Volibear's package. But some of them are not as great as the others, so let's head right into it and see the 5th worst card of all time, Titanic, in Legends of Runeterra.
So the 5th worst card in the Legends of Runeterra, it's Kadregrin, the Infernal. Kadregrin is a 9-mana dragon for Demacia. It has Fury, and it says, when I'm summoned, grant other dragon allies everywhere, +4/+4. This card was a meme in the community because it was the worst dragon by far. It doesn't have a very direct effect in the board, so it's very strange to play this card in any dragon type deck.
It's also very slow, it costs 9 mana, it has okay-ish stats, 9/6, but it's still a very slow card for what you would want in a value-based board like dragons. It's also a Demacia card, which already annoys me as a dragon fan that wants to play ASO. It does seem like this card would help level up ASO, but at the end of the day, it's just too costly, and most games are over when you play dragons by the time this card can be played on your turn.
This card actually saw a little bit of play in those decks that run Spectral Matron. It's a card that can play this card from your hand without the 9 mana cost, so it's more easily to fit in those archetypes which you can play this card and actually make this effect work.
It's still a very bad card, and it has even been buffed a couple of times, but it never stuck as a good card to play in dragons. Hopefully in the future we get some more buffs to the dragon archetype and this is eventually playable. Let's head on right to the 4th worst Titanic card in the game, which is Raza the Sunderer.
Raza is a 8 mana from Shadow Isles. It has Fearsome, and the play effect that goes to the pile, kill the weakest enemies, the 2 weakest enemies if an ally died this round. This card was actually very strong in the beta and in the first expansion that they've had in the game. But because the game evolves and because we have a lot of new cards and new effects and new metas, this card is just not that good in this moment.
In this very own region, we have better tools if you want to remove units. We can think of Vengeance, Quietus. There's a lot of other cards that slay units that are better than Raza, but don't be fooled because Raza sometimes can surprise you if you don't know that your opponent is running it. One of the problems with this card is the 2 weakest enemies. Because it says it's the 2 weakest enemies, your opponent can manipulate their board to increase or decrease the power of certain units and make them get killed instead of the units that they want to protect. And yeah, it's just a very bad card. It used to be so great, and now it's just so bad.
So let's go right into the 3rd worst Titanic card in the game. Is the Sanctum Conservator. It's a 8 mana from Shurima, also has Fearsome. It has the ability play, kill an enemy follower. If you slain 13 plus units this game, kill all enemy followers, then summon a copy of me instead. This card is very redundant in this archetype, which is the Nasus and Senna archetype, which can slay a lot of allies and enemies, but by the time you're slaying 13 plus units, you already won the game.
Yeah, so this is a very bad card for this archetype, which is a shame because the theme of this card is very cool. The past 3 cards we've seen have very cool thematic cards, and you'll notice that the other cards that we'll mention will also be very cool thematic wise, but it's just not worth it to play this card when you have other tools in this type of archetype to win the game. And as Toto said, by the time this card gets to the board, it's an 8 mana card, you've already won the game. So let's head right into the 2nd worst Titanic unit. We have Thrumming Swarm.
Thrumming Swarm is a 7 mana also from Shurima. It doesn't have Fearsome, it has Overwhelm. It says, when I'm summoned, create a copy of me in hand if you leveled a champion this game. The problem with this card is that Shurima is a very champion-centric region, so your main focus in this deck is to protect and finish the games with your champions. So this card tries to be a finisher in those decks that don't support this type of archetype.
This card used to see some play in infinite action decks, where of course action wasn't the point of the deck, but it was always a worse win condition than other cards in that deck, and it just helped you continue your combo as turns went on. So at the end of the day, it's just a very bad card, and it also has 4 health, which for Titanic units is very bad.
And also, it doesn't apply some bonus effects in your hand when it's copied. So, for example, we have the Forge Colossus, which is a Freyard card that when it goes to your hand, it halves the cost and also gets a lot of other bonus stats. So this card in your hand will be, again, a 7 mana, 8/4 with Overwhelm.
Let's head into the top first worst Titanic unit of the game of all time. We have the Zondiva.
Zondiva is an 8 mana from Piltover and Zon. Play D1 to all enemies. If you played 6+ new spells this game, deal 3 instead. This card doesn't have any keywords. It's a 8 mana 5 health, which is just very bad, and it has a very weak effect that doesn't really fit into any of the Piltover and Zon archetypes.
Unfortunately, even though this is Seraphine's girlfriend, she doesn't do anything close to as powerful as Seraphine does. By the time you can finally play her with this board clear effect, the game should have already been won like a couple of turns before, and it's much easier to bring this effect to clear a whole board with Caustic Reef and Seraphine on board, or Keg or something of the kind. So paying 6 new spells, which is different from 6 new cards, for instance, even though this deck doesn't struggle with playing 6 new spells, just to have this mediocre effect of dealing 3 to the whole board is such a shame for such a beautiful thematically card with such a beautiful effect, right, Toto?
Yeah. So guys, those were the top worst Titanic cards in the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. So I see you in the next video.